Hi guys, Bethany Clement, Elysian Properties.
I'm Cody Touchette with Caliber Home Loans.
And we have a couple misconceptions that we want to talk about. We kind of each have a big one.
Yep.
And you want to start? What's your biggest misconception that you've seen with buyers?
Sure. Yeah, just this last week I was talking to a client and she would like to buy a house and has not saved up money for a down payment because she has been paying off a lot of her debt. And while that's admirable to pay off your debt, in her instance, she needed to have some down payment. She did not qualify for a veterans loan. She did not qualify for a lot of the other zero down loan programs because she actually made too much money on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So she's been taking that money and really working hard to pay off her debt. While that's a great plan, in her instance, it's pushed her further away from being a homeowner because she needed to have some down payment, and she could carry with that debt with her, like an auto loan or maybe a small couple credit cards. But if she didn't have the down payment to get started in the mortgage, she can't buy a house without it. So that was a really good misconception that just happened recently, was somebody was going off on their own, thinking they knew the right plan to get themselves into home ownership, and they were misguided and she didn't have what she needed. So now we're trying to figure out where we can find that money for down payment and get her into a home as soon as she'd like to be in.
Also, in this instance, having a little bit of debt and then having a little bit of a down payment would have been better than no debt, no down payment.
Yeah, and that's a great way to say it too, because in that sense, that's what we needed. Not always the case, right? Sometimes we do tell people, hey, if you pay down X number of dollars worth of debt, you qualify for that much more house.
Right.
So really what it boils down to is come see me first. Let's get a holistic look of where you're at financially, take a look at what you have for debt, what you have for assets, and then allow us to figure out where that money should go, whether it be a down payment or paying off a high interest credit card or wherever it should go.
Well, and you've had all the time, and I've heard this too, is like, oh, well, my credit's not great, and then come to find out your definition of great and my definition of great might be different. So really having that conversation first, and then, I mean, you work with people to kind of fix their credit.
We do, and there's a lot of great tips there too. Like another client of mine week before last was saying that he'd been trying to get over a 700 credit score, and he was hesitant for us to pull his credit before he was there.
Okay.
And I said, let's just take a look at it. You don't have to be at a 700 credit score. You can definitely buy with lower score than that. And let's take a look and see where we're at. So I pulled it and we ran it through our credit scoring algorithm that tells us what you should do to get the best score. He was at a 685, and if all he had to do to get over 700 was remove 2 authorized user accounts that he was on. They weren't even his accounts. He had been added to these accounts years back to help him build his credit, but now the person that actually managed that account wasn't managing the account super well. He manages his credit better than his authorized user account did, so all he had to do to get over 700 was remove himself from these 2 accounts. It was completely free, and he would have never figured it out on his own.
No.
Yeah.
That's why you have to ask us. So there's
right.
a big misconception that I handle frequently.
Yeah.
It's not with buyers, it's with sellers. So frequently I've had someone say, yeah, I really want to list my house, but there's some things I want to do to get the house ready to sell. Everyone wants to do that. Whether it's cleaning or decluttering or big projects that you've been meaning to do for 30 years, everyone has some stuff that they want to do. Well, the misconception is you don't have a realtor in until you're all ready to list it. That's just the misconception. That's just not true. In fact, I actually prefer to meet with you before you've started many of the projects, and then I can advise you. I can advise you on what is going to help you net more money when you list your home. What are buyers looking for, and what are they okay with buying the house in that shape, but then they'll go ahead and put their personal touch. Maybe if you redo all the carpeting, that didn't matter to them anyway because they want to put hardwood in instead. So then it's not even a good investment on your part. Plus, I had a gentleman that was going to list his home. He was either going to list it now or wait a little bit later, put some work into it. And we were just talking about this. It's like, okay, wait and list it for $50,000 more, or list it now for less. But you have all that money of improvements. What if you put 40 grand into it just to make 50 grand? I don't know if that's a good return, but it's 6 months later and
it's risky
you've
too.
paid that mortgage. And I mean, what market is it then? Is there too many other houses on the market? Yours doesn't sell as fast. So there's pros and cons, and there's good and bad times to wait or to do those improvements. But it was kind of one of those things like, let's go ahead and sell it as is and we're good to go. So anyway, those are two of the big misconceptions that we've kind of been hearing a lot. We wanted to cover those. So the big takeaway for you guys is, if you have one of those questions or concerns, definitely reach out to us, comment below, or message us, and we'll go ahead and meet with you and talk about that and get you guys on the right path.